This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic.
Hi, I'm Huell, and you know, one of the things we've discovered as we travel around our state is that each little town or community seems to have its own festival or celebration or parade, something that the town is proud of that brings the community together. Well, in this particular program, we're going to focus on 3 of those towns and their very unique celebrations. We're going to meet a lot of nice people, have a good time, and as always, you're invited to come on along with us as we continue our search together for California's gold.
California, here I come, right back where I started from, where bowers of flowers bloom in the sun. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing, and everything a sun-kissed mist said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up that golden gate, California, here I come.
The sky was filled with rain clouds as we crossed over the Yuba River and into the town of Marysville, a historic mining town 45 miles north of Sacramento, in the heart of the Sacramento Valley. Now, we were in Marysville to attend what most historians agree is the oldest parade in California. But we pulled into town a day before the parade so we could spend a little extra time there finding out about its history. And when you talk about history in Marysville, you have to talk about the Chinese, who've been there since the 1850s. In fact, back in the 1800s, Marysville had the 3rd largest Chinese community in the entire United States. Now, the first person I met up with was Janice Nall, one of the members of the local Chinese community, who wanted to show me one of the most historic and loved landmarks in the area.
Now, Huell, this is the famous Bok Kai Temple that has been here since 1880 and is the only one in the Northern Hemisphere honoring Bok Kai, the water god, amongst others.
This is the only temple like this in the Northern Hemisphere?
In the Western Hemisphere.
Did there used to be a lot of these temples around?
There were many, many temples, but only a few to Bok Kai. And this is the only one that we have left.
And this is the original?
This is the original.
Wow, it looks wonderful.
It's in good shape. You want to come on in?
But this is just the outside. We're going to go inside. And, gosh, into the temple.
Now, you know, we're not supposed to step over this ledge.
Well, wait a minute, why not?
Well, because this door, this second door, is placed here for a reason, and that only members of royalty are supposed to step over this ledge, and the people of common folk come around.
Well, what happens to you if you step, because we just did?
Well, you'll find out shortly. But actually, you know, these doors serve another purpose in the fact that the Chinese used to believe that evil spirits, and they still do believe, evil spirits traveled in straight lines. And this door is to protect the gods and goddesses from that.
This looks very old. Is all of this original? Like,
yes.
Look at this.
Some of these things are much older than others, of course, and the intricacy is common throughout it. The item that you see in the back that is being hung from the top of the temple.
That is beautiful.
It is gilded in gold, and it was a gift from the Yi family in gratitude for some of their wishes being answered, you know, by the deities. And if you'll notice, some of the blue over there, that's not painted blue. That is the blue of peacock feathers.
What is this? What are these? Because these things, I'd like to have one of these in my house.
These are ceremonial swords, and as you can see the very top of them, they are symbolic of, on this side, the 8 immortals. We have immortals such as wisdom, poverty, youth, age, and so on.
And they're covered in cobwebs.
Well, those are 112 years old, too.
Oh, so that's part of it.
That's right.
Well, it's certainly got the atmosphere down, that's for sure. Now, what are these things?
These are fortune-telling sticks. When the people come in and after they've made their offerings, they will shake a fortune stick. And they will be on their knees, always with both hands, and shaking these sticks out. so that only one stick comes out. And that'll tell their fortune.
Oh, wow.
Each stick is numbered, and this is number 5. And so
And what's your
there's a particular fortune that it's in the back area there that we can find out what the fortune is.
Wow. This is wonderful. And what are these?
They're also a way of fortune telling, although these are old sticks that you use in asking questions that may take a yes or no answer. And you take it in, and you can see the little holes in the ground. This is from slamming these wooden sticks down. And the most ideal way of doing it is one up and one down. That would be your answer. Great. I just asked if it was going to rain this weekend, and my answer would be a no, because it's, of course, the Bok Kai Festival weekend.
How do you know it's no? How do you know it's not yes?
No, this is the answer. This is your most ideal way. You want
one down, one up.
That is correct. Yeah.
Now you brought me next door to a kind of an adjoining room to the temple that is full of stuff. I don't know any other way to put it, to show me something that is one of a kind.
Very special. This is the first dragon in the United States, Mulong. And it was so famous and so popular that it has made treks over into New York to be in their parade back in the 1800s.
So this was the first Chinese dragon in the United States?
That's right. Came from China.
In what year?
That hasn't been determined. It was probably in the mid-1800s.
Wow. And
Yes.
it's held up
Quite well.
fairly well.
Quite
I'm
well.
almost afraid to touch it because it looks a little, it's like made out of paper mache, isn't it?
Yes, but the paper mache that is used on the dragon, or was used then, is not the water and paste type that we're used to in the children's. This holds up much better.
Look at the eyes. What are the eyes made out of?
I'm not quite sure what material it is.
Look at this.
Yes.
Now, it used to be real long.
Used to be real long. Here's the jaw. We also have the tail and a part of his body left in under storage, crated up.
So he's we're down kind of now to the head.
That's right, that's right. We hope one day to set it up and place it in a museum and on display, as well as many of the other things that we have in storage.
Gosh. Well, this is a real piece of history here.
Yes, it is, yes.
And what was his name?
Mulong.
And what does that mean?
Long means dragon. Mu means to dance.
Dancing dragon.
That's right.
Well, he's not dancing anymore.
No, but he had one heck of a reputation.
Well, it's 11 o'clock Saturday morning, and we're standing right in the middle of downtown Marysville in the intersection of 6th and D. As promised, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's a beautiful sunny day. We got the whole parade behind us ready to go. And Steve Lim is standing here ready to start the whole thing off. He stays in the front of the parade all the way down the parade route. And let's just put it this way. This parade starts with a bang. Now, is this part of the tradition of Bok Kai for you to be pounding this?
That's right. They lead the parade with a lot of noise, and so everybody know the parade's coming.
Well, now you got earplugs in your ears.
Kind of loud.
Okay, go back to it. Let's see what you can do. Is it too loud for him?
Yeah, every year he does that.
Well, that's part of Bok Kai.
Tell him stop, Ari.
It was loud. It was colorful, and it had a little bit of everything in it. From Scottish bagpipers to local Hmong students dressed in native costume. From horses and wagons to old cars. From pretty floats to marching bands. And of course, there were dragons. Little dragons and big dragons. And there were monkeys, too. All of this part of California's oldest parade, honoring Bok Kai, the Chinese water god.
Now, what is this thing about it never raining on a Bok Kai parade?
Well, they said it never rained. It only sprinkled a little bit last year.
And that's it?
I have been here when it rained hard.
Not during the parade?
Up until 11 o'clock, and then it stops.
So you don't even have a raincoat or an umbrella or anything around here?
No.
So
it's not
you
gonna
believe?
rain today. I believe.
You believe?
Yeah.
Now, why have you got that umbrella?
I needed it for the sun.
Oh, okay, but not from the rain.
No, not from the rain. We're not having any rain.
Never any rain.
No, never any rain.
So this is for the sun.
Right.
It never rains during the Bok Kai.
Never.
Well, a couple of times it has.
Wait a minute, there's a difference between it never rains and a couple of times it has.
Yes, it has. As a matter of fact, I think it was last year.
Just a sprinkle.
Just a sprinkle, yes. You want to say hi, honey? No, she's scared of the dragon.
Now, what's the story on these figures?
These are the Monkey King and his three friends, the Friar, the Goddess of Beauty, and Mr. Pig. They are on their way to the west, which is India, in search of happiness.
Now, is this a Chinese tradition to have this in a parade?
Yes, it is. This is a Chinese puppet, and it goes with the float, which is the Year of the Monkey float. And since we're celebrating the Year of the Monkey in Chinese folklore, the Monkey King is a comparable to Tom Sawyer.
So this is the Monkey King right here.
That's correct.
Now, is this your deal here?
It sure is.
Now, how hard do you have to work to get this thing together?
Well, we take it apart. We take the skin off of the skeleton, the head apart, the tail off every year, and then we put it in storage. This is a brand new dragon. We got it last year.
It's a long dragon.
125 feet.
Wow.
It takes 50 men and women to do it, and we get them from Beale Air Force Base.
And here's the tail coming up right here. How does it feel to be the tail of the dragon?
Not a good job at all.
What does this Bok Kai parade mean to the community?
Well, to the community, it's a celebration of history, a history of the Chinese, a history of what Marysville is, and it's a great opportunity to bring everybody together.
Our next stop takes us to Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Feeney's front yard in Sierra Madre, a pleasant little town in the San Gabriel Valley about 15 miles from downtown L.A. When we got there, I think just about the whole town was already there to take an up-close and personal look at their town's pride and joy. It all started innocently enough back in 1894 when Mrs. William Brugman planted a 75-cent seedling out by our front porch, a wisteria vine to be exact, something to add a little color to the yard. Well, not only did it add color, it ended up growing so large it completely engulfed and collapsed the Brugman house. And today, even though that original house is long gone, the vine is still alive and growing. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much area it covers these days, but let's just say this is a healthy vine. A vine that over the years has helped put the town of Sierra Madre on the map and in the record books. It's a town landmark that's known all over the world. And one day a year, usually toward the end of March, the two families whose homes and yards it now covers invite people to drop by for a close-up look and a smell of the famous vine. It's a Wisteria Vine open house, sponsored by the Sierra Madre Beautification Committee, and it's a special day for everyone who comes by.
I've never seen anything like it in my life.
This is your first year to come?
Well, we've seen it over the fence. We live in the area, but we've never been in underneath the wisteria vine, and it is very unique. I recommend it very highly for
You know, it's
anyone.
too bad we don't have smell-o-vision, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's a. I've never known that wisteria smelled this way.
Well, let's go over and take a look. Look at these things.
Yes,
You see, I have a very special fondness of things in purple. I should mention I was married in a purple suit, and so the association of pansies is often yellow and purple. But here I see all the purple I want. I can embrace it.
Now, is this your first time here?
Yes, this is my very first time, but my mother has been telling me about this for 60 years. We never came, so I made a point to have her see it finally.
After 60 years, you're finally seeing it?
Yes.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I think it's fine. I can't believe it. A one vine doing all that?
Just one vine?
Yes, isn't that something?
And I think after 60 years, it's about time you brought her.
I think so, too. Well, she was supposed to bring me in those days because I was just 6 years old.
And now you're bringing her.
Yeah, I have to bring her.
In my childhood years, they used to ask us, like these little girls when I was their age, we used to wear kimonos and come here, and we'd have dancing, you know, Japanese dancing.
Oh, under the vine.
Under the vine, yeah. And we would maybe help serve tea. And there was a time when they even had little shops here that sold wisteria perfume and wisteria honey and candy and things like that. So it was a happy time.
I've been living here 40 years, and I've enjoyed this vine. Every year that I could make it up the hill, I walk up from Sierra Madre Boulevard and take a good hike, and it's easier going down. So anyway, I've enjoyed our town, and this is one of its biggest prizes here. Really.
And it really is a prize.
Oh, it is. It's priceless, and I hope many people are aware of it because, you know, it's something that you don't find in the world, the biggest one in the world. And how they've managed to maintain it and care for it. It's a nice gesture of people here. The two families that allow us to come in and enjoy it once a year.
The original trunk is right here in your yard.
Yeah.
Do you take special, what do you do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
We look at it and says, it's rotting. No, but it's so big. We couldn't get any information out of the former owners what to do with it, if there was anything special to do.
Do you water it?
Not really. It gets water from the sprinklers and the rain.
Do you fertilize it?
Not really.
Goodness gracious. So it's just here.
Yes, it's so big that we figured it's like a tree, and trees grow without most help.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's doing.
Just
here growing.
And growing.
And bigger.
How's the vine doing this year? Is this a good year for the vine?
Oh, yes. The blossoms are so lush and so full. It's really lovely. It really is. I'm really pleased that it's all taking place today.
So there it is, Sierra Madre's pride and joy. Almost 100 years old and still growing strong. In fact, this year, everybody commented that the blossoms were especially beautiful. And I gotta tell you, even these pictures don't really do it justice. And as we leave Sierra Madre, a special thanks to the Feeney family and the Solt family for allowing me and several thousand other people to wander through their yards and enjoy their beautiful vine. Our last stop takes us to the town of Redlands, about 60 miles due east of Los Angeles in San Bernardino County. Now, Redlands is quite a community, boasting its own University of Redlands, founded in 1907. It's a city proud of its culture, its traditions, and its history. And there are a lot of neat old buildings around town. Buildings like the old post office, which is on the National Register of Historic Places. The old Santa Fe train station, which has been restored. The Morey House, built back in 1890 and a real gem. And the Kimberly Crest House and Gardens, which epitomizes a beautiful turn-of-the-century home. There's also the newly restored and expanded A.K. Smiley Public Library, which everyone in town is proud of. But we were in Redlands to visit a unique building that's located behind the public library. Nothing else like it in the entire country. And attend a very special celebration that's connected with that building. And the whole thing started off, you guessed it, with a parade. And this just isn't your ordinary parade either, because if you'll notice, it's a parade made up almost entirely of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cubs, and Brownies, their scout leaders and their parents. Thousands of scouts walking down the main street of Redlands, on their way first to the town's outdoor amphitheater, the Redlands Bowl. Now, this is a real town tradition. They've been doing this every February for well over 50 years now, as they join together to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday. This year, they even heard a speech given by the district attorney dressed up to look like Lincoln. And after all the speeches, everyone walked across the street to that building I was talking about earlier. You know, the one behind the Smiley Library. What is that building? What's in it? And why all the interest among Redlands citizens in good old Honest Abe? Well, the answer is quite simple. Redlands is the location of the Lincoln Memorial Shrine, which houses a museum, library, and archives. In fact, it's the only shrine to Lincoln in existence west of the Mississippi River. It was presented to the city of Redlands back in 1932 by Robert Watchorn, a self-taught immigrant who worked his way up from the coal mines of Pennsylvania. Mr. Watchorn was fascinated by Lincoln and the Civil War, and built the shrine not only as a gift to the city, but as a memorial to his only child who was killed in World War I. Today, the shrine is recognized around the world by scholars and is a great source of civic pride. Now, what do the locals of Redlands think about this shrine?
Well, as far as I've been able to figure out, they think it's a wonderful thing to have. And most people I've talked with have a very, very strong feeling for Abraham Lincoln.
Now, why do you think that is?
Because he's a wonderful man.
We have all kinds of children. Well, many children come through, of course. And I'm a retired teacher, so I always enjoy having the kids come through. And the little ones, and I say, look at the man up there. Do you know who he is? Yeah, that's Lincoln. They all know who he is.
I think it's wonderful. I am just so delighted. I'm from the South originally. And I think it's wonderful to have this here, so close to us in California.
Is there enough in here to keep you busy for a long time?
Sure. It seems like you see something new. They keep moving. Whatever they have, they keep moving it. My grandmother donated a Lincoln picture here, and they just keep rotating the all the things, artifacts that they have.
So there's always something new to find out about Lincoln.
Yes.
Now, you have a lot of, I don't know what word you'd use for it other than memorabilia here. You have the swords.
Yeah, well, Mr. Watchorn, the man who founded the building, wanted it to be a museum dedicated to the entire Civil War. And Lincoln, of course, and the Civil War are inexorably linked. So we have artifacts, swords, bullets, manuscripts and the like from the Civil War and from Lincoln's career.
Now, I've heard of death mask. I've never seen a life mask.
Yes, a lot of people think this is a death mask, but it's not. It was done in the summer of 1860. And Lincoln wrote that it was a very painful process. They would pour plaster of Paris on his face, put a couple straws in his nose so he could breathe, a couple half marbles over the eyes, and let it harden and form a mask. People wanted to see exactly what he looked like.
And these are his hands?
Those are his hands, grasping a broomstick. He dipped them into the plaster. And let
broomstick?
Broomstick. The artist Volk said that clasping helped bring out the definition in the hand.
Now, what would something like this add to someone's understanding of...
Well, people will come up to that and say, well, first, it doesn't look like Lincoln. That's not their image of what Lincoln looked like. And they said the mold really doesn't lie, and that's exactly what his features look like. Plus, the kids also get a kick out of his description of himself. When he saw the mask, he said, there's the animal itself.
And this is interesting because there are really not that many letters still out there that are actually signed.
Exactly. Anything signed by Lincoln is valuable, be it the smallest scrap of paper to a full manuscript. And this one here we're particularly proud of because not only is it all in Lincoln's hand on Executive Mansion stationery, but it deals with a controversial issue, Mary Todd Lincoln's spending during the war. She was known for her extravagant tastes and occasionally exceeded her budget. And in this letter, Lincoln's trying to get his comptroller of the Treasury to be on the lookout for any bills that are not accurate coming from the White House.
Now, over here are the murals all around the ceiling here. What's the story on the murals?
The artist's name was Dean Cornwell, and he had done the ceiling murals at the LA Public Library, and they were a little bit controversial back in 1932. in that the citizens of Redlands were expecting something a little more straightforward, maybe Lincoln splitting rails or delivering a speech, that sort of thing. But Cornwell elected to do something different. He decided to paint in allegoric form those attributes of Lincoln's personality that he felt led to Lincoln's success as president. And you see them underneath the heroic female figures: strength, loyalty, faith, courage, and so on. 8 attributes, and that's the way he felt he'd go with it.
And these are the original murals untouched?
Untouched since 1932, when they were done by the artist.
Now this, you know, I feel almost like I'm at a tomb or something here with this, with the flowers, and this is more shrine-like.
Yes, it's funny that you mention that. We've had some children come in and think that he's buried here at the shrine, and that's not the case. The flowers are meant to be a celebratory sort of thing. It's a birthday celebration. It's not a sad occasion, but one of happiness.
You know, I get the idea that because of the size of this place, because of Redlands and its history and its still kind of small town feeling, Lincoln would have liked it here.
I think he would have, coming from a small town in Kentucky and yet experiencing the nation's capital. I think he would have been at home at this place here, and especially the look on the eyes of the children when they see some of our things and learn about Lincoln. I think that's an accurate statement.
You think it makes sense to have this here?
No, I think it belongs in California, definitely.
Well, that's the end of this particular adventure. We've attended 3 celebrations in 3 different communities in our state. And as we close, I must admit that there was a little bit of a frustration factor at work here. Because when we check the schedule, it seems like there is always some kind of festival or celebration going on somewhere in our state, and we can only be one place at a time. As we close, I would specifically like to thank the citizens of Marysville, Redlands, and Sierra Madre for their hospitality, because they made us feel right at home. And as always, I'd like to thank you for joining us and invite you to come on along with us again next time as we all continue our search together for California's gold.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your family or friends, all you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.